I get a little squeamish when the audience treats cartoons as something quaint, as something cute. I want cartooning to be dangerous, and I want it to be something more than just ink on paper.
My name is Dylan Ingledew from the Teen Press, and today we are here with
Pablo Bryant.
Nice to meet you, Pablo.
Nice to meet you.
What is the documentary Mr. Fish, Cartooning from the Deep End about?
Well, Mr. Fish is a pen name this artist uses. He's a editorial cartoonist, a political cartoonist for the most part. That's how he makes his living, and that's the aspect we focus on, although he does animation and he does fine art as well. And he is just a particularly outrageous, dangerous, controversial, funny, sometimes dirty cartoonist who deals with real issues in a very unique way. And I like to say he's sort of a not ready for prime time guy, right? You know, he's not looking to change his art so that he can then get in a big publication. He makes his art and finds a way to put it out there. But so he's an uncompromising artist in that sense, which I think is extremely rare now, because everyone is looking to try and figure out how to monetize their art in order to make a living. So someone who is more interested in just expressing the art as it comes to him, as opposed to figuring out a way to monetize it, which would mean dumbing it down or making it safe or making it not so edgy.
With his cartoons, was there any that you feel you didn't want to put in a movie or were hesitant to because you think it wouldn't be taken as well or were too offensive?
No, I never really had that kind of censorship operating in my brain, which I'm glad about, because he's not operating from a place of self-censorship. So he is a dangerous, controversial artist. If I were to sort of try and soften that and pick his safer pieces, there'd be no reason for me to make the film. It was just, you know, whether you like his work or not, if you could then stand back and say, well, why does it offend me? Or why does it make me angry? Or why does it make me sad? Or, you know, it has some effect on you. That's on you, right? If you're all upset about it, that's your experience. To then say, well, he's wrong to do it is a little bit sort of authoritarian and presumptuous.
Mr. Fish's artwork is also known as harsh and offensive to a lot of people. Has any of his cartoons or drawings offended you personally?
No, I can't say that I've been offended by any personally. He did a cartoon, so he's a big admirer of Martin Luther King. And, but he also really finds it distasteful the way that Martin Luther King is simplified, and that his radical side is kind of softened and he's not really remembered for how radical a person he was. So he finds it sort of distasteful the way that every year on Martin Luther King's birthday, or Martin Luther King Day, I think he actually has a day, the way that he's memorialized and is very soft and very lacking in edge. So he published a cartoon of Martin Luther King dressed up in a ice cream cone suit, and he's sort of dancing. And just looking at the image, I just went to myself, oh my God, what did he do? You know, where has he gone? This is just horrible. It's just horrible. I just can't. Ugh. To do that to Martin Luther King, to make him look so foolish, it really stopped me, and I just couldn't really believe he did it. But then when I read the cartoon, it had to do with how vanilla we're making Martin Luther King, and how his mythology is being sold in a certain way. So there's always, even when he's doing something that's really offensive, you have to look deeper and you have to read deeper into what he's doing.
What are some of the comparisons and similarities you see both from yourself and Mr. Fish?
Well, I don't have the bravery he has to put that kind of art out into the world. I mean, you asked me before how I've been inspired by him. That's definitely one of the things, is I've been inspired to be more brave with my opinions without having to be righteous about them. In other words, if I think something is true, even if it kind of is going against the grain of our culture, I'm more likely to put it out now, sort of post it in social media than I would before I started working on the film, because I realized it's really just my opinion, and if someone wants to engage with me, then conversations are good. It's not really a problem. You know, I think we're both heartbroken about how the world operates and the tragedy of the way governments function and the ignorance of our culture, and you know, just how much exploitation there is in the world. And it's, and I think we both realize that because of the way the world operates by exploitation, that we're really not headed in a good place. And what he's doing with his art is he's sounding the alarm that if we continue to go down this road, we're going to pay the price. I can just say that from an environmental point of view. The oceans are filling up with mercury. You know, there are now labels on cans of tuna that say, "Be aware of how much that there's mercury in this, and if you're pregnant, you probably shouldn't eat it." I didn't have that when I was growing up. That's a disastrous and dark world to live in, and I think artists like Mr. Fish call attention to those kinds of things.
All right, thank you for the interview. It's been great.
Thank you.
Really interesting seeing you talk about all these things. I'd like to thank you a lot for being here today.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.